Another movie that I have seen and Dust has not is a movie called Immaculate. Immaculate is a movie starring Sydney Sweeney. This is a horror film here where she stars as a character named Cecilia, Sister Cecilia. She's a woman who is trying to go the process of becoming a nun. She's going to a covenant there. Uh, and yeah, she goes here. And this is in Italy, by the way, that she kind of travels to this place, trying to learn the ways of becoming a nun. And while she's kind of in this church, trying to learn the ways of trying to become a nun, she realizes something's off. Something's kind of
Mm.
eerie, kind of going on in this place. Things kind of happening, seeing things that aren't there. As well as you can guess by, I guess, the title of it, Immaculate. It's dealing with immaculate conception, the idea of her getting pregnant, and nobody was around. And
Mm.
this kind of mystically kind of happens there. Also that increased the further weirdness of things that this happens. And there's maybe some occult situations going on here.
Mm.
She's trying to discover it. So Sydney Sweeney, she's kind of blowing up right now.
Yeah.
A lot of the Euphoria cast, like Zendaya, her, Jacob Elordi, you see him in a lot of places now. A lot of young stars kind of rising. And I like that Sydney Sweeney is trying to diversify her portfolio a little bit, trying to do a little bit movies from different genres. Like we just saw her in Anyone But You that came out last year, which was a romantic comedy, and I thought she did decent in that. Here, this horror film, and I think she says she also wants to try other different genres of film as well. And I think that it's good because, Sydney Sweeney, I think it helps her career to do this different type of stuff because it makes her seen as something more than just she's the hot girl, you know what I mean, of the moment, at least to, do a little bit more different kind of roles here. So here, I think she's really, doing well in the kind of the horror
Mhm.
environment. It does get kind of more brutal as the movie goes on. The movie's really short too. It's only like an hour and 30 minutes. It's like,
Mm.
what I mean? So it's pretty short. So it doesn't take that long for things to kind of get going. The vibe of the movie is kind of more like seems like it's trying to be more 70s horror, a little bit more kind of slower paced, a little
Mm.
bit more weird.
Kind
Um
of Rosemary Baby angle.
yeah, trying to be a little bit more of that. That's a good yeah, trying to be a little bit more like Rosemary's Baby, somewhere along those lines. I feel like that's what it's trying to do, in terms of there. And in terms of like kind of where things go in this movie, yeah, that's kind of a good description. This movie's here by Michael Mohan here, and looking at his other credits, so he was a writer on The Voyeurs. He did also a series called Everything Sucks as well. So not too much I say. I think maybe this is his directorial debut with Immaculate. Um, so I like kind of the setting of this place. I like the performance by Sydney Sweeney. I think there are some really good moments where she kind of shines here. I think everything else is kind of meh. So it's kind of meh in the movie. I think a lot of there's a lot of jump scares and weird stuff that kind of happens and things that kind of come out. Like you see in the trailer, like there's a scene where she's in the confession booth and then somebody reaches out and grabs her and everything like that. I feel like a lot of stuff you can kind of see coming. A
Mhm.
lot of the jumps and scares and everything, and where it's going to go there. So I think this is just overall okay film. Got some good imagery, good lead performance. She's kind of the only really recognizable name I know of the cast here. I don't really recognize anyone else in this. But yeah, everyone else does a fine job. And this is a Neon production. Usually Neon, they usually deal in a lot of kind of strange elements there. They usually like kind of like A24.
Yeah,
They
neon's an interesting subsect of horror of the a lot of horror movies I've seen recently, or even just other weirder movies. It's not always necessarily, but there is. I don't see a lot of happy-go-lucky movies come out of neon.
yeah. Wasn't Neon the one that did Infinity Pool or
I
is that
It may have been. Let me double check on that.
I think they did Infinity Pool last year. Um, but yeah, so yeah, for me, I would just give it a stream it, kind of around that territory there. Just because it is kind of your plain type horror movie. I think this is probably better than the other horror movies we got in this year. I was telling Dust or I was telling actually Sage there that man, I mean this year for horror is not that good. I mean, because by this time we had already gotten Evil Dead Rise. At least that was pretty good, and then so far we've had things like Night Swim, things like Imaginary, which haven't been very good at all. This one I think is at least attempting to do something really good and attempting to, be more bold
Yeah,
and be more
they
scary.
they did Infinity Pool.
Okay, and, Infinity Pool was very good.
They've also done The Lodge, In Earth, Possessor, 2018's Border.
Mm,
They've done quite a bit.
yeah. So Immaculate for me, I give it a streaming. Kind of more of the streaming territory. Same thing with Arthur the King.
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions about
Uh,
Immaculate?
I guess my only question is, does it go? Presumably, it goes more into kind of Catholic imagery. Do they focus more on that and how and certain aspects of that in this movie, or how far do you think? How far did they go through it? In the this is a horror movie. I know sometimes certain horror movies kind of back away or something more indulged more than others. So I was kind of curious. See, since you've seen the movie.
How much they go into kind of Catholic imagery, meaning like
Like imagery, also like religion, certain aspects of that. I presume they do quite a bit for this movie.
Yeah, they have, like, religious aspect, like I said, she's a nun, and they have
Mhm,
that, and also the priest there, and this whole, the Immaculate Conception and, like, how it
mhm,
happens and this kind of occult type nature to things, they do
mhm,
bring that in there, um, and kind of the religious aspect there as well, devotion that somebody has to
mhm,
faith, they bring that also in here because her character, very much, had a near death experience as a kid, and that kinda changed her perspective, and she kinda wants to devote herself to, God and her life, so that kinda comes into there, but, I don't know if I wanted this movie to maybe be a little bit longer because, like I said, it's only an hour and 30, maybe if you had 20
mhm.
minutes more and played with things maybe a little bit more and play with elements a little bit more, maybe that would have been something. But yeah, I think, like I said, I like that she's trying to do a little bit more different things, go out there, and this is fine. This is a good start there. I think to something like that. And this is his directorial debut, Michael Moore. I'd like to see some other stuff from him,
Okay.
and see what else he does. So yeah, that was review for Immaculate.